Led by their captain James Foster, Essex fought back well on the second day of their LV County Championship match with Northamptonshire in Chelmsford. The home team resumed their first innings on 177 for 6, Foster and Mark Pettini having already put on 58 runs for the 7th wicket on day 1, and they were immediately adding more to that stand. Both men had started the morning in the 20s and were especially strong when the visiting attack was a fraction off in length. These two, who'd come together with their side in some trouble on 119 for 6, now had the total into the 200s and climbing. Both men made 50s, Pettini getting there first off his 117th delivery with his 7th 4, one of 3 in the same Rory Kleinfeldt over, one which also brought up the 100-run partnership between these two experienced players. Foster was soon raising his bat too, his half-century being completed off 89 balls, an innings containing 6 boundaries. On a day when it was confirmed that the long-term coach at Essex, Paul Grayson, has now left, these two had given their supporters something to smile about. They took the total to 265, the partnership between the two realising 146 runs in nearly 50 overs together, when Pettini on 68 got a peach from Kleinfeldt, armed with a second new cherry, which the batsman did well to nick behind. It had, though, still been Essex's morning. They started the afternoon session with Aaron Nijjar joining Foster, and these two simply picked up from the morning session, the pitch seemingly offering very little for the Northamptonshire bowlers, in spite of that one delivery on the stroke of lunch from Kleinfeldt. The 300 was soon posted, something which looked out of reach on day 1, and Nijjar was soon at his career best in passing 20. This was turning out to be a very good day for the home team, in fact. After a brief break for rain, Foster did depart just 2 runs shy of what would have been his 22nd first-class 100, a pull off Rob Keogh's first delivery of a new spell, picking out Josh Cobb in the deep to end a partnership of 74. In the same over, Nijjar went after Keogh to move on to 48, and the 20-year-old's maiden first-class 50 was completed at the end of the same over with a couple of runs through backward square. The youngster had needed 79 deliveries to get this far and had struck 7 boundaries from those. It had been an innings filled with encouraging signs as far as Essex were concerned. The batsman had added 3 more to his tally when he edged Ollie Stone behind, but he had helped his side to a respectable total of 356 for 9. 4 more runs were added to that, and then Jamie Porter top-edged a shovel off Azarullah to David Murphy. The bowler ended with figures of 4 for 74, as Essex were finally dismissed for 360 at tea time. Northamptonshire lost Murphy in the 5th over of their reply, as he was brilliantly pounced at the second attempt by Dan Lawrence under the helmet at short leg. The youngster was absolutely outstanding in that position, and some more magnificence almost saw the back of Alex Wakely, who did very well to get his bat back in time. Ben Duckett got the innings moving in the right direction by making the most of a leg side ball from Jesse Ryder, which was clipped for a 6, while Wakely worked the ball into the gaps well, as he and his partner took the total quickly up to 58 with a stand of 42. Those runs had been made in only 11 overs, and so Ravi Bopara was brought into the attack to have Duckett taken behind off a rather loose shot after making a lively run-a-ball 32. Wakely then kept the scoreboard ticking over with some classy strokes as he and Keogh looked to bat through the remainder of the day. They got to within half an hour of the close, in which they put on 57 runs for the 3rd wicket. But then on 43, Wakely took on Nijjar in the spinner's first over, but picked out Nick Brown instead. A disappointing end to a promising innings from the visiting skipper. It was left instead to Richard Levy and Keogh to see their side through to stumps. They both did that well in adding 28 more runs in 7 overs. So with Keogh on 37 and Levy on 13, Northamptonshire will go again on day 3 on 143 for 3, and that has them 217 runs behind Essex. Essex stayed on top of Northamptonshire on a battling but weather-affected penultimate day of their LV County Championship match in Chelmsford. Northants resumed their first innings on the third morning on 143 for 3, 217 runs behind their hosts, and lost 2 wickets in Jamie Porter's first over. Rob Keogh on 45 lost his off-stump to a peach, while Adam Rossington was out next ball, nicking a drive behind to leave with his team now in some trouble on 151 for 5. 211 was the target the visitors needed to get to avoid the follow-on, and so they were thankful to new man Josh Cobb and the remaining overnight batsman Richard Levy, who added 37 more before the latter was forced to retire hurt after being struck on the hand by Tom Moore and breaking a knuckle. That brought in Rory Kleinfeldt, and he played positively from the start, and thanks to him that follow-on was soon avoided. The South African took on Moore and gave the ball a frightful thwack at times. He has a simple approach. If the ball is there to hit, then jolly well hit it. These were the kind of shots you really didn't want to get in the way of. Aaron Nijjar was on before lunch, and Cobb couldn't resist taking him on, only to pick out Moore in the deep to go for 26. Northamptonshire heading to the lunch break on 258 for 6. 13 more runs have been added to that in the afternoon when Ollie Stone was bowled by Jesse Ryder for 22. Next ball, and Azarullah was plumb in front to the Kiwi, leaving it to Kleinfeldt to pass his 50 with his 8th 4, a shot which nearly took Porter with it, a half-century which was made of only 56 deliveries. His knock had been an important one for his team, and he'd taken them to within 85 runs of their hosts by the time that the innings was ended on 275, as Maurice Chambers was another Ryder LBW victim, the third man of the day to be out without scoring. Kleinfeldt was left unbeaten on 52, and then after a break for rain he should have had Dan Lawrence out with a new ball, only for David Murphy to spill the chance behind the stumps with the batsman on 4. Lawrence and Nick Brown then took their side's lead into 3 figures by opening up with a stand of 22, one which was ended by Stone as Brown on 14 was held by Keogh, who was knocked off his feet by the pace of the edge. Tom Wesley then joined Brown, and this pair carried the total to 36 for 1 at tea, Essex's lead at 121. But another shower meant that play didn't commence again until 4:45, and when it did, Wesley and Lawrence largely saw out time with few problems in the 5 overs and 1 ball that were possible before the light became an issue once again. So Essex ended the day on 55 for 1, and that gives them an advantage of 140 runs going into the last 3 sessions. Light issues on the final afternoon in Chelmsford meant that Essex were unable to start life without Paul Grayson with an LV County Championship victory over Northamptonshire. Essex held all the aces as the last day began, with them on 55 for 1 in their second innings for a lead of 140. Tom Wesley was put down off his own bowling by Maurice Chambers, but after only 4 runs had been added to the overnight score, the same batsman lost his off stump to the former Essex man. Essex needed quick runs to set up a target against a team which had only 10 batsmen, with Richard Levy missing with a broken knuckle sustained on the previous day. Ravi Bapara and Dan Lawrence tried to push things along, the latter producing one remarkably wristy stroke. But having got to 36, Lawrence was another to be bowled, this time by Ollie Stone, the batsman leaving with the total on 83 for 3 and the lead standing at 168. That brought in the hard-hitting Jesse Ryder to join Bapara, and these two advanced that lead by 39 runs in the following 9 overs. The advantage now above 200, which was of course not yet enough for James Foster to be able to call them in. His side were held up a bit when Bapara on 25 was LBW to Rob Keogh, and Ryder, who'd made 29, edged a good one from Chambers behind. Essex then set off for lunch on 151 for 5 for a lead of 236. They batted on into the afternoon with a job left for Ryan Tenduscarter and Mark Patini to get as many runs as they could as quickly as possible. In 9 overs together after the break, they hit the ball to all parts, inputting on 65 runs, the declaration coming 35 minutes into the afternoon session with a total on 216 for 5, Tendescata making 43 and Patini 37. There were 56 overs of the match remaining, and Northamptonshire had been set a target of 302 to win for the 4th time this year. David Murphy, in spite of a finger injury, got the ball rolling. But on 8 in the 5th over, he had his off-stump flattened by an inducker from Jamie Porter. Alex Wakely made a solid start on his arrival at the crease and took on Ryder when he could, the Kiwi not having the impact with the ball in the second half of the summer as he did in the first part of it. Porter, however, was more impressive, and in the 6th over of his opening spell, he again dragged the ball back sharply to embarrass Wakely, who was bowled without playing a shot for a breezy 19. But the light soon became an issue, and after 14 overs the players left the field, and by the time they returned into the evening session, too much time had been taken out of this game. Keogh and Ben Duckett had a much easier task now to save this match. They'd taken the total to 82 and the former was run out for 17 after being sent back by his partner, substitute fielder Aaron Beard, with a direct hit just after he'd come on. Aaron Nijjar then pushed one through to bowl Josh Cobb for a duck, but 20 minutes later the players were off again and the match was drawn. It was a shame for Essex, who may have had a chance had 29 overs not been lost. With Duckett making a patient 34, Northamptonshire ended on 92 for 4. They took 9 points to move into 3rd place in the table, while their hosts claimed a dozen.